All right, so let me introduce Tom Ferry. It's my honor and privilege to introduce Tom and welcome him to our call today. Tom is the #1 ranked coach and speaker by Swanepoel Power 200 for the last 7 years in a row. He's the best-selling author of Life by Design and Mindset, Model, and Marketing. Tom coaches and trains agents around the world. And Tom, what I appreciate about you most, we could go on with your introduction for quite a while, but what I appreciate about you, Tom, is that you always come from the heart. You bring a tremendous amount of energy and enthusiasm to everything you do. Welcome.
Thank you, my friend. And obviously I see Todd out there and Peter as well. I appreciate you guys. And for everybody watching right now, I get little access to, almost 840 of you on the line. Can we just start by giving the leadership that's putting all this together a giant round of applause for making this happen? Matter of fact, do me a favor, in the comments, exactly. Can we get some thank yous? Can we get some heck yeahs? Can we get some love for the leadership? Because I think we all know we're in the pressure cooker right now. And leaders are leading, like these three guys and so many other in all of our organizations are stepping up their leadership big time. And that's the difference that makes the difference. It's what gives us the mindset. It gives us the ability to say, if I'm gonna doubt something, I'm gonna doubt my limits, right? So that's beautiful, guys. Thank you so much for all of you out there. That's awesome. So fellas, how can I help today?
And so #1, thanks again, Tom, for spending the time with us. And we wanna dive right in because time is short.
Yeah.
And I thought a great place to start the call today would be with mindset. We've all had challenges in our lives. You've had challenges in your life. And now we have another challenge, which is the coronavirus and COVID-19. And first question is, how can we use this crisis to build a bulletproof mindset for the future? What are the daily routines we should be practicing that over time help us build that mindset?
So I can certainly give you some insight on that, but I'm going to start maybe with a bummer, right? Here's the bummer, my friends. Like after 31 years of doing this, and I don't even know how many, tens of thousands of hours of coaching and, personal sessions. And by the way, also being married to the same woman for 26 years, married her 3 times, raising a 19 and 20-year-old that don't want to kill me, that were the opposite of me growing up with my dad. The bummer is we all have a mindset. And if you're taking notes, here's what I want you to get. Your mindset is basically made up of the beliefs that you have about yourself and what you're capable of, right? Your mindset is the beliefs you have about yourself and what you're capable of, including, do you deserve it? So part of the challenge, Corey, when people say to me like, hey, help us work on our mindset, the first thing I say is awareness is the first step, right? Like I had to acknowledge early on, right? We'll use money as a metaphor, that I was raised in 2 different households. One house where everything was scarce, right? There was 4 kids. There was only 1 cookie in the cookie jar. You had to race to get it. It was Taco Tuesday. It was actually taco salad. It was never that good. My mom didn't understand spice at all. It was Meatloaf Wednesday. It was very repetitive. It was very lowbrow. It was super low cost. The jeans that I got for the new school year were the jeans that my brother Matthew, who you guys all know, were the hand-me-downs, right? Like that's how I was raised. And then I'd go to my dad's house. And my dad, on the other hand, right, an entrepreneur, many of you know who he is, he was of the mindset of, I have no money. So what I should do is I should buy an expensive home in Newport Beach, California with 105% financing and lease a Rolls Royce to force myself to go out and do the work. So I want you to imagine the mind of a 6, 9, 10, 12-year-old child who all of your early exposure, your mindset is created by those early memories. On one end, my mom's got no money and there's never enough. And she was never mean about my dad. Like, they were trying to figure it out. And then my dad was just like this crazy pirate, right? He was like, let's go get a Rolls Royce. Let's go do this. Let's go buy a house. And he would put his back up against the wall to go out and succeed. Now, when I became old enough to be aware, I was finally able to ask myself, okay, what's my story, right? What do I believe about me? What do I believe about life and business? right? And the reality was it was the tale of the two. And I had to decide, was I going to choose this path, or Corey, was I going to create my own path? And the path that I decided was I was going to take my own path. And what I would ask all of you as you're watching and listening to this right now, what COVID-19 has done is it's revealed your beliefs about you. It's revealed your beliefs about how valuable you are to the market or not, right? How resourceful you are for your clients and yourself or not, how tech savvy you are, or the fact that you don't understand it and can't learn it, even though you figured out your MLS, which is the most bombastic piece of software on the planet. So your mindset is made up of all these beliefs. Now, you know, the question is, so how do I change that? The first thing is you got to be aware. You got to stop and say, where'd all this come from, right? And then the question I always ask myself is, what lies have I been telling myself? What lies, L-I-E, what lies have you been telling yourself about your capability in this market? What if I told you, Corey, this morning at 7:30 a.m., I'm texting back and forth with one of my clients, George Lofton in Phoenix, Arizona, who opened 55 escrows last week. 55 escrows. That's not bad, right? That's a good week. What if I told you, and I can't say the name of the agent, but one of my clients just closed a $40 million deal. Well, what was his commission? Oh, he got negotiated down to 1.5%. But you can figure out the math, right? Why is it that some agents right now in this market are just killing it and others are just stuck, right? It's what you believe about yourself. And here's the bummer. You can't heal it on a Thursday, right? You can't fix it on a Friday. But what you can do is by being aware of it and recognizing I've been telling myself these lies. And by the way, lies is an acronym for limited ideas entertained. Limited ideas entertained. You keep saying it over and over again and it becomes your reality. You guys all know that, right? It's why some people say, I'm a lean, mean listing machine, right? And they recognize the value they deliver to the marketplace and all they want to do is make phone calls. So I guess here's what I would tell you. Ready? One easy hack for you guys in business. List out today, what are the 10 benefits of doing business with you as a buyer or seller in this market? What are the 10 benefits of doing business with you? With you, not with your company, with you in this market. You pull from all the company resources, but you're the one that enacts it. You're the one that saves the client. You're the one that's resourceful. If you make up a list of the 10 benefits, right? And you start really thinking about that, then do this, ready? This is the one that really gets you. Then create a list of the 10 negative consequences people experience if they hire some ding-dong agent. What are the consequences of them hiring some stupid agent? And I'm not being mean, you know what I'm saying. There's just agents right now in the marketplace, they couldn't sell a home if their life depended on it, right? They couldn't sell their own home. They would call you and say, please list my house. And by the way, that's happening in this market. You all know that, right? What are the 10 negative consequences of them hiring some knucklehead? And then what's going to happen is you're not going to heal yourself on a Tuesday because you're not broken. You were just wired incorrectly like the rest of us, but you can be responsible for rewiring yourself. And the first one is to really acknowledge your value, what you can do. And when you start doing that, Corey, suddenly like the thought of making phone calls and helping clients and going on appointments, like you want to do it because you're like, wait a minute, I'm a really good negotiator. I sell 96% of my listings. Hey, prior to COVID, I was getting 102% of list price. I was in multiple offers every single time. Hey man, I'm good. And it's not BS. It's the truth. It's your truth. Does that help?
That helps a lot, Tom. Thank you. And one follow-up question on mindset. So,
by the way,
it does matter.
It was
all
the
starts
appropriate
there.
question to start with.
So, as a coach with the Tom Ferry organization, I got to watch you, Tom, pivot quickly, like day one of COVID. And the question I would have is when a disaster or a market disruption occurs, what are the steps you take to quiet your mind, gain understanding about what's going on, create a plan, and move into action as fast as you did with the Pivot program?
First of all, thank you. And I want to be very clear, my friends, like all of us watching this right now, it wasn't just me. It was, I sat down in January, at the end of January after our elite, And I'm sitting with Cindy Kin, who you know, my now former COO, pardon on great ways, she's a super human being. She's got friends in Beijing. She was born and raised there, right? So we were watching it happen. And then I was watching what was going on with my European clients, because we've got clients, you know, all over the world. And you know, you start saying, okay, if it hits, what are we going to do? Right? Well, February kind of cruised by for the most part. But when all of a sudden it started creeping up into Seattle and we started seeing some of these, like the beginnings of something more, and the news really shifted, I pulled my team aside and I said, okay, let's just be honest. We've worked through 5 recessions. We know the plays to run in a recession. And I would ask all of you to think about the same thing, especially for my veteran friends on the line. And I mean, like, we knew the plays to run in 2007, 8, 9, 10. We didn't all run them correctly, but, you know, common sense isn't always, you know, common practice. But we knew the plays. I remember, you know, in 88 when the stock market crashed, because I bought my first house in 89 just in time for the value to go from here to nothing in a matter of 2 years, right? So we remember these experiences. But then, you know what I did? I just went back to our core values, right? So, you know, in this case, we were in Steve Belmonte, the president of the company. We're in his office. I'm sitting with all the executives. And, you know, behind us on the wall is written the core values. Like, why do we exist as a company? We hold professionals accountable to fulfill their greatness. And I said, okay, how are we going to do that more? How are we going to do that more in potentially, we don't know what could be, you know, a major health crisis. Then I looked at all of our values below it. And like the top 2 that stood out for me was deliver more value than it's expected, right? Deliver more value than it's expected, and innovate. And I literally just said to myself, hey, you know what we're going to do? We're going to give our clients 2 to 5, 6 trainings every week on virtual open houses. And my team's looking at me like, what are virtual open houses? And I got to be honest, I said, I have no idea. But if this thing is as bad as we think it is, if you talk about what was, you know, we're talking to people in Beijing where they were suddenly trapped in their apartments and they couldn't move, I was like, how else are you going to do an open house unless it's virtual? But because we're in innovation, and you know this, Todd, you know it as well, everything we do is on Zoom. I just said, look, our clients are built for this. We got 7,000 people. They already know how to use Zoom. We're just going to tell them, take your listing presentation, put it on your laptop, hit the screen share, and bam. And as soon as I said that, like, my head of coaching, Mary Jett, was like, oh yeah, we could do the same thing with research buyers, sellers, showings. And then honestly, we said, what about New York City? We're like, oh, they might be screwed, because in New York, most of you probably don't know, to close a transaction where the rest of us are pretty much search to close, it's all pretty digital now, and it's not seamless, but it's effective, right? Minus like all the other states that still haven't figured out, virtual notary, but we'll get there. But in New York, you have to have agent, buyer, seller, ready? Attorney, and a managing broker. 7 people in a room at the same time to close a deal. Guess what? Sales in New York are down 80% because of the complexity. So the rest of us, we pivoted. And what we're seeing now is, again, I go back to mindset. Those of us that believe we are ridiculously valuable, and even though we can paint the picture of the realities, 1 in 6 Americans not having a job, if I focus on the 1 that doesn't have a job, I miss the 5 that have a job that want to buy and sell. I'm not saying I'm not empathetic to the situation. My goodness, I am, right? Believe me, I am. And yet, if I focus on the 5, if I focus on the ones that do want to transact, I get more of that. I might have to work 2 to 3 times harder, which is what we told everybody in the middle of March. And in many cases, that has been the case. But in some cases, Corey, I was just with a client, like, in a typical market in north end of Boston, he put a home on the market for $850, it'd get 13 offers. Now we only get 6. Suffer.
So Tom, you mentioned virtual open houses.
Yeah.
What would you say the most effective lead generation activity our agents could be doing right now would be?
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna give you, okay. So all of you have been given advice before in times, and you said the following. Like, I was looking at, like, Peter, like 5 years ago, my buddy Gary Vee is on stage at one of my conferences, and somebody asked him, hey, Gary, you're pretty connected to the tech world. What stock should we buy? This was 5 years ago. He said, buy Netflix. And I watched 1,100 agents, some of the most successful people on the planet. Everybody wrote it down. A third of the people went like this, oh, stock market, right? Because that's how they respond to everything. And a third of the people went like this, well, that's a really good idea. And they wrote it down. They put a $ sign next to it. They earmarked the book, but did nothing. And a third of us, including myself, bought the stock that day. Stock was trading at 365 bucks. 7 months later, it was at 700. Then it split 7 ways, and now it's back to 450. You know who makes money in this business? The people that recognize done is always better than perfect. That throwing it up the flagpole and trying it is always better than saying, well, if it isn't done right, I got to be perfect and this, and then oh my God, like what if I shoot that video, Peter, and it doesn't come out right? Those agents are losing right now because perfection kills you in this business, certainly in an environment like this where if my dog came in right now and started barking, no one would care because we're all like every day is Zoom day now, right? So I say that to you because I want to preface for all of you. I really, really, really want you to listen to the filter of, I'm going to do exactly what Tom tells me right now, regardless of what I think. If I'm going to doubt something, I'm going to doubt my limitations. So ready, Pete? Here's the answer. Throw on Monday or Tuesday, either a virtual first-time buyer seminar done via Zoom or a seller seminar. So I'll give you an example because I know we got people all over the place here. But so Peter, a couple weeks ago, actually now a month ago, we started talking about this on our pivot training. And what's great about our environment, like your agents, is there's just a number of people that are gonna go, I'm just gonna try it. So this kid, Zachary Faust, right? Who I say kid because he's like 26 years old, 4 years in real estate, right? He just said, okay, I'll do it. He said, Tom, what are the steps? So I'm gonna give you all the steps and I want you to write down the steps because if you follow the process, you'll win. Ready? So here's the process. Number 1, ready? You come up with the 5 mistakes to avoid when buying during COVID. The 5 mistakes to avoid when buying during COVID. And by the way, guys, I can send you a deck, a presentation from one of my clients. Let me know in the notes if you guys want a copy of the deck, right? And then if you guys want it, then I'll send it over. And they're not from Coldwell Banker, right? Like it's a little indie broker right up in Michigan, right? But she's killing it. And check this out, Peter, literally, she hears the idea on Tuesday's session with Jason Pantana and I, right? And she goes, yeah, I can do that. She said, 5 mistakes to avoid. Let's see, number 1, or she said, number 1 was like, not asking how much money I really need to buy a house. Do I have to have 20% down or are there programs that I can do it for less, right? Does my credit have to be perfect, right? Like, so she just lists out all the reasons, but the third one she talked about was, can you buy a house safely during COVID? And she said, I spent the vast majority of my time talking about that. And what she said was like, the objection, and everyone on here knows, right? The objection you get is, but like, Corey, can you do it safely? You know what my clients say? Hey, why would I do it in a way that would actually cause me to potentially get sick and then take that back to my family? So of course we do it with safety as the number 1 standard for me and my family, as well as for you, right? Like that's a better way to position it than, yeah, of course we do it safely. Like common sense here, people. Like I'm not gonna get my own family ill to sell you a house. That would be stupid. Don't say that to a client. But anyway, and then she walks them through all of that, but I'm gonna give you guys a little hook. So stop saying yes in a minute because I'm gonna give it to you. Everybody listen very carefully. This is the first time I've done this, Todd, outside of the forum of our clients. 7 or 8 years ago, I became probably the biggest advocate of reviews as the degree of separation to get business. And I pushed hard with clients. Zillow, Trulia, Realtor, Yelp, Google, I don't care. But the third-party endorsement has existed forever. We saw it crush in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s on infomercials. But when real estate agents suddenly could say, Peter, the reason you want to list with me is I have 175 5-star reviews, and the agent you're talking to has none, that was the degree of separation. As long as we've all been in the business, it was track record, it was market share, then it was reviews. I believe the 2 biggest degrees of separation, certainly for the next 18 months and maybe forever, are having safety guidelines, like literally saying beyond what NAR has published, your own local safety guidelines. And I call it like social selling safety guidelines. Like, here's how we do it. And it's got to go above and beyond it. You got to stack the cool and do more than what NAR would publish as an example. Does that make sense? But the second one, And you'll see this in her presentation. The second one is, and all of you as brokers know exactly what I'm going to say right now. It is about protecting buyers from fraud. Listen very carefully, everybody. For all my agent friends, you listen up. That I talked to Steve Azonian, who all of you know, right? CEO of WFG Title. I'm talking to, the guys at Fidelity. I'm talking to everybody. I get on the phone with Ann Thompson, who runs a little company called Bank of America. I'm on the phone with Mitch from Wells Fargo. And everybody says the transaction's gone from search to close, and it's all online. And the threat today for fraud has never been higher. And the source of the fraud is the agents. Now, before you say, I'm not doing fraudulent behaviors, if you have an AOL account that you haven't changed the password on in 7 years, you're the problem. Todd, am I right on this?
You are right.
Okay, now I'm telling you right now, guys, the first company that comes out and says, we require double authentication on all emails inside of our company because your protection matters to us. That safety, your safety for us, for you, and for everybody matters, and protection matters. And before you say, well, that sounds like we might be scaring people. What about companies like LifeLock? They make their entire business on that, right? What about life insurance? It used to be called death insurance. Now it's called life insurance. Like, you will frame it appropriately, but I'm telling you, those two things are going to resonate more than you could possibly imagine going forward. Now, back on your point, Peter, sorry, a little ADD moment, but I hope valuable for people. Please update all your passwords, my friends. Do it today, all right? Now, you'd say, here are the 5 mistakes to avoid, or here's 7 ways you can sell your home for top dollar during COVID, buyer or seller. Ready? Then number 2, you set it up on Zoom. And I think all of you know, because you did it today, you guys sent me the link. I clicked on the link, and what did I see? A registration page. Oh, you mean I have to give my name, my cell phone, my email, tell you what state I'm from, just to get the information? Guess what? People are doing it every single day. And it's just like one tab. Do people have to register? Yes. You hit that one tab, and now everyone that gets the link has to register to get the information. Think about that, my friends. You know what that's called? Conversion, capture. You with me on this? Then number 3, ready? You email your entire database. Now, if you're really good, and I know you are, you'll probably do this. Hey guys, it's Tom Ferry, Coldwell Banker. I am really excited to do something that I've never done before, right? Traditionally in my business, I would sit down with people one-on-one and I would walk them through the 5 mistakes to avoid in buying a home. Because of COVID and my ability to innovate and bring technology to you, you can now join me for 30 to 45 minutes this Friday at 5 o'clock. You can have a glass of wine, have an appetizer, and learn the mistakes to avoid in buying a home during COVID. And I'm going to share with you the 3 things that the average person isn't even thinking about. So if you want to join us, just click the link below and put it in your calendar. I look forward to seeing you Friday at 5. And you embed that or not, you just send it in an email. It doesn't matter, but you tell everyone you know that you're doing it. Now, guess what happens? They start sending it to other friends. That's really important. You ask 3 or 4 local business owners that are your really good friends that maybe you interviewed, and you say to them, hey, can you post this on your page? Right? I'll keep promoting you as I've done, but can you kind of let everybody know that I'm doing this? You have your lender on there, so your lender can speak about rates. You're all with me on this. And then get this. Then, you know what you do? You take that same video and you put it on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and you boost it a 15-mile radius on Facebook, and you let everybody know that you're doing it. Make sense? Then you personally call or send a private video to every hot lead from January, February, March that ghosted you, right? Every April lead that said, I'm not sure, I'm a little uncomfortable, can we do this? And every May, June, July, August person that you got in your file and your CRM to follow up on, you invite everybody into it. Make sense? Now, what if I told you Dave Robles, my client, Corey, Todd, you guys have met Dave, right? You kind of funky Dave from like West Side LA, Hollywood agent. And, he says, Tom, that makes a lot of sense, but I don't want buyers. I got buyers. I need sellers, right? We all need sellers. There's a shortage of inventory. We all need sellers. He says, screw it. I'm going to do, and this was like, he decided on like Tuesday And on Friday, he did his first event. He had 78 people register. 78. He's on the west side of LA. His average sales price is $3 million. 78 people, name, cell phone, email. He said to me, I was really upset. I only had 36 people show up. Suffer, suffer. Do you all get what I'm talking about here? Like Peter said, like, what's the best way? Yeah, make more phone calls, send more texts, follow up, call your sphere, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? You know what this is called? This is called doing an open house on steroids for people that are interested and want to hear from you, the expert, the authority on how to buy and sell real estate in this environment. My client, Kurt Kessel, who you guys also know from Melbourne, Florida, said, hey, we're going to blow that off. We're going to do how to invest during this time. Then they did how to do fix and flips during this time. They're like, Dave Robles said to me after 36 people showed up, and get this, guys, he only got 2 leads from it, but he did get halfway through because he did the last thing, which I'm going to tell you to do. Halfway through, his email goes ding, and it's like, Dave, we want to list our $3 million house with you. Now, was it worth it to send the email? Was it worth it to do the video? Was it worth it to just say, you know what, screw it. I've never done a seminar before, but if I'm going to doubt something right now, I'm going to doubt my limits. Screw it. I know real estate. I know what to say, and I know the concerns my clients have. And if I can answer those questions intelligently in 30 or 40 minutes and maybe have my lender pop in and talk about rates and what's going on, you're going to kill it, my friends. Zachary Faust, the guy I told you about, had 230 people, 230 buyers on his how to buy your first home. He said, it was a mistake. We couldn't follow up fast enough. Ready? Now here's the hook. I understand this. You're using Zoom. They all register. In the very beginning of the presentation, you want to say, hey, everybody out there, first of all, thank you so much. I'm really honored. This is the first time we're doing this, and we certainly plan to do it a lot based on the fact that there's, 14 of you here, 6 of you here, 700 of you here. My intent today is really to answer your questions and to maybe remove some of the concerns you may or may not have about buying a home today. Now, my personal email is tf@coldwellbanker.com. So if you want to schedule a private one-on-one with me afterwards, or you've got a question about something I said, maybe you heard something different and you want a point of clarification, my email is tf@coldwellbanker.com. So you can certainly email me. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Here's slide number 1. And then your video goes in the corner and everybody sees the screen, and you go click, 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 educate, educate, educate. And you do the same thing I do, which is you keep the chat open on the right, so you can see when people are engaging, and I ask questions, and you guys saw I did it to you. I'm like, hey, do you guys want a copy of this? Yes, 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 yes. That's a way to create engagement, right? You could say, hey, just for fun, it's Friday night, we're doing this. How many of you are having a glass of wine or a cocktail right now? Be honest, right? And then everybody goes, oh yeah, that's me, we're having drinks, You're creating engagement just like you would in an open house, just like you would if you're at a social party, right? It's the same exact thing. We're just doing it this way. Now, the last thing is midway through the presentation, you remind them again of your email address if they have questions. And at the very end, you remind them again, if you have questions, reach out to me. This is not about the hard close. You've already captured all their information. You're going to follow up. But what you want to do is take the 36 people that are showing up to learn from you, the expert. Peter, what you want to do is get the ones that are really interested to level up and say, hey, I'm interested. And if you got 13 or 30, so Heather Klumpmaker, who's the presentation I'm going to send you guys from up in Michigan, where they're not even an essential service, sold 1 house within 24 hours of doing this. How about that for a long answer to your question, Peter? Sorry.
That was a great answer, Tom. Thank you for that. There was so much in there. And I assume if you're brand new today to the business, you would just go do the same thing that you just.
Right. Here's what's great. You may be brand new, but the customers don't know that. And when you're the educator, you're the expert.
That's right.
Hey, can I just jump in real fast? So I like the awesome stuff, right? Like tactical, let's go out and make it happen. What do you tell the agent? Because I see some of this going on in the space that's like, well, I just don't want to be disrespectful, right? Like I don't want to say something that makes somebody feel bad. Maybe I Maybe they're afraid. Maybe I should be afraid. Like from a mindset and messaging standpoint, as the world begins to sort of turn back on, like how do you help an agent get through that journey of going from, all right, health and safety to now I gotta, within me, get to a place where I'm ready to do the work?
So I go back, Todd, I go back to mindset, right? So if you believe by making a phone call, you're hurting someone, you're not gonna make phone calls. You with me? It's that simple, right? What I wanna tell you all is, I'll give you like a fast example. Several years ago, when I turned 40, by the way, I'll be 50 in August, which is super fun. When I was 40, I was told my entire life that, my grandfather had a bad back, my dad's got a bad back, my back hurts, right? So the last thing you want to do is work out too hard, because if you work out too hard, you're just going to hurt your back. That was the lie. That was the limited idea that I entertained. And then I meet my guy, Richard Farley Jr., who goes, yo, TF, that's so much of BS, man. The harder you work out, the stronger you get. You just need to work out intelligently. Has anybody showed you how to work out intelligently? I was like, what does that even mean, right? Good hook, 5 days a week, but only for 3.5, 4 years with him, 5 days a week, no more back problems, stronger than ever, stronger than I've ever been. If you're buying into your lie, think about that. Then you're buying into your lie. I choose to ask myself, hey, there's what I think, and then there's what's happening around the world. And what I think is only because of the data I'm putting into my head. If you're watching the freaking news, stop. You know what television's job is? Television's job is to get enough eyeballs so they can sell ads. You're being sucked into BS headlines every day. I live in Newport Beach, California. Our governor just closed our beaches because they showed a photo from last July all over the news that we were being socially irresponsible. I was on the beach. Everybody was 6 feet away. And by the way, the weather sucked. It was completely overcast. Are you buying into that noise? So you ready? Write down the reasons why you're a benefit. What do you love about serving customers? What do you love about being helpful? What do you love about navigating these crisis times? If you write down those questions and the answers, you're gonna make the phone call. And the obvious, ready is, Todd, you get on the phone with somebody and you're like, Todd, checking in, man, how you doing? What's going on with the fam? I hope you've already done that with all your leads, your clients, your sphere. But once you've done that, then it's like, hey man, I don't know if you've seen this, but the market, and again, market by market, it's gonna be different, so tell the truth, right? The market is really heating up right now. And I think most of us have kind of come to the conclusion that COVID is what it is, and we're gonna just continue to live our lives. How about you? That's the script. And some people will say, no, I have chosen that this is the end of the world and I'm going to die. And you say, I wish you peace. I will pray for you. I really will. Like, I will pray for you, because that's the last thing I want. But you know what I'm finding? The vast majority of people, they're over it. Even my clients in New York City are like, okay, we're ready, man. Like, let's get back to work. Like, we need some resilience. So I think you all should to take on a theme for the month of May. It's go time. May is go time. May is go time. Just like March is the beginning of the spring market for us, May is now the beginning. That what is, and how we're doing it is how we're doing it. And you've all pivoted. So now it's go time. Make sense?
So Tom, being that it's go time, and there's still going to be some challenges ahead, right? So let's address those. People are still going to be working from home. Their kids are home. School's canceled. They've got to be parents. They've got to be teachers. How do they set a good schedule that could work and be productive while we're ready to hit go time?
Okay, so here's the deal. You ready? We're all in a different situation. I've got a 19 and 20-year-old. They want to play video games till 4 o'clock in the morning because there's nothing else to do. And they go, for their 2 hours of college every day, which is just hysterical. I'm working 16-hour days. My wife is upstairs taking care of my 92-year-old mother-in-law. I've got a dog. There's nothing but distractions. We're all in the same boat. But here's what I know. If I'm not moving my business forward, it's not about the time. It's about what you're committed to. What I'm telling everybody, like all my clients right now, here's what I'm telling you for the month of May. May is your breakthrough month. You're going to book more appointments in the month of May than you've ever booked in your life. And they're like, okay. And I said, no, think about it. What's the most appointments you've ever booked in a month? Everybody right now, what's the most appointments you've ever booked in a month? What's the most appointments? I want to see numbers. Is it 2? Is it 5? Is it 10? Is it 80? What's the most appointments? While you guys are telling me your numbers and I'm looking here, what if I told you that Tim Smith, who you guys know, Coldwell banker agent, Newport Beach, California, my personal client, and in the middle of March, he called me and said, Coach, I think I'm going to lower my listing appointment goal for the year. And I'm like, Timmy, shut the front door. No, we're not. We should raise it. He goes, why? And I go, because everyone's going to be home. He'll go on 275 listing appointments this year. He went on 14 last week, right? You know what he said to me? May's got to be my breakthrough month. I got to go on 40 appointments in the month of May. 40 appointments. Now, so Corey, does the schedule outweigh the focus and intention? I would argue no, right? You guys can book an appointment like this. Hey, Marilyn, super excited. You want to meet next Tuesday, Zoom? I'll send you a link. Let's get together virtually. You know, I know you want to talk about it. Let's go, right? Like, I mean, days are gone of the Monday through Friday, 9 to noon, get on the phone, 2 headsets. I lived in that world. That world doesn't exist anymore. You could post right now on Facebook or go to your Instagram and say, ready, on your stories, have you had any thoughts of selling? Or ready, even better, here'd be the one I would do. On my Instagram story, I would take a photo of a house, take it from anywhere, use the polling, yes, no. Are you living in your dream home now? Question mark, yes or no. And that's on your Instagram story. And you know what, whether you get 5, 7, or 75, or I'd get 1,500, you're gonna get a ton of people right now. They're gonna say, what, guys? No. No, I am not living in my dream home now. I wish I had a pool. I wish I had something bigger. I wish I had 2 floors. I wish I had a second bedroom. I wish I had a home office. I'm working out of my closet. You're going to get that nonstop. But then the next question is, after you say you're living in your dream home now, the next one is, right, have you had any thoughts of upgrading or downgrading in 2020 or 2021? Yes, no. And you know what you just did? In 14 seconds, I don't know how to use Instagram. GTS, Google that stuff. I mean, come on, people. It's 2020. You with me? Like, don't be lame. Like, I gotta tell you guys, I do have a client. She's 92 years old. Her name is Judy Johnson. She's up in Connecticut. She's been listening to me and she, oh, you know, that Ferry guy, you know, he's a little crazy and, you know, he's not really my style. And she's like my mother-in-law's age, right? And I finally say to her, you guys need to get your butts on the phone. I don't care what your schedule is. I don't care if your cat's in the background. I don't care if you have to stand outside and make your 5 or 6 calls and do your follow-up. You just got to do it. It's your focus and intent. Judy starts making 10 conversations a day. Now she's up to 20. She's 92 years old. 92. Some of you, I'm saying this in a loving way, you've been a candy ass and it's time. It's time. So Corey, I don't think it's schedule. If you ask me what's most important, focus or schedule, focus or scripts, focus or CRM, focus or mindset, I would just say focus. Today, I'm going to book 3 appointments. And I could be making lasagna.
One of the questions I get asked often, if not every day, all day, Peter, where do you think this is going? And my response a lot of times is, well, really, I don't know, but I think it's more important, what are you going to do?
Yeah. I say the same thing, Peter. Like, nobody knows, right? Nobody knows, but you know what? I kind of bet on humans. I'm kind of strong on humans. You know what I mean? Like, if I can invest in humans, that's kind of where I'm going. So whether we're wearing masks for the next 3 years or not, hey, if we are, probably time to get some pretty cool fashion masks.
So Tom, we have like, I think 4 or 5 minutes left with you.
Yeah.
Rather than us asking you another question, I'd love you to take that time and just share what's the most important things you want to share with us in the closing 4 or 5 minutes we have with you.
Man, you know what? Try this on. And even as I say this, I know one of you is going to hate me. So please understand, like, I have 350, 360 people in my company. in the last week, we've had 2, teammates, immediate family members pass away. So I'm not an insensitive knucklehead, but I'm going to challenge your perspective. I think COVID is actually a gift. I think COVID is a gift for us in that I now realize how special it is that I have 2 children. That the time I get to spend with them by getting in the hot tub and adjusting my schedule and hanging out or going for a drive, that the fact that I'm very blessed to have a beautiful wife and a mother-in-law living inside my house. I'm blessed that I've got Zoom that I can communicate with so many people on. I'm blessed that I've got guys like these 3 right here that, would reach out and say, hey, Tom, would you share a few words? I think COVID is actually a gift that has caused us to stop and to reflect and to slow down. Some of us have been on a 11-year bull market run. And you know what? We finally get a chance to reflect. But I'll also tell you, in that reflection, I'm reading more, I'm learning more, I'm dreaming more. I'm thinking more about how is this going to be coming out of this? Like Peter's question, Peter, we decided we're going to do seminars that are virtual, and we've done 3 so far, and they've averaged 900 attendees in front of their computer for 2 days. And they're coming from I've got people coming from Russia that are like, we love you, Ferry, but it's a long flight for a 2-day seminar to go to Minneapolis, right? We're saying this is the new norm. This is a gift. I have clients that are saying to me every day, guys, they're on the East Coast where they have to go to the closing table to close the deal. They're like, I haven't been to a closing where I had to get in my car. I'm not driving all over town anymore. I'm working out of my house, a place that I happen to like. Try this on. It's a gift. Now the question is, are you opening up the gift and expanding on the gift and nurturing the gift, or are you still in complaint? That's what I got.
Yeah, kind of a mic drop moment right there for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, can I just say a couple of things about Pivot, in the whole, and I know you don't sell this stuff, right? So we didn't have this conversation before, just so anybody. Pivot is the program that Tom and his crew put together specifically for this challenge. And the reason he did it was because in his heart, he's here to make a difference. The heck with the money, the heck with all the other stuff, the number 1 coach, blah, blah. It's about making a difference in the community. And this Pivot program is quite literally the biggest no-brainer in the world for $100 a month, no contract. You get Tom, you get all of this stuff. If you haven't checked it out, y'all need to do that. If you're not following Tom on Instagram, you need to follow him on Instagram. I see all the emails about slides. We're going to get you the slides. I promise. We'll make them available. I'm going to post mine on Instagram. So if you want to go connect with me on Instagram at Todd P. Conklin, we'll get all that stuff for you. But Tom, dude, what you do every single day, hours upon hours, it's one of the reasons that you and I connect so well. It's all about the person.
Yep. All of us. That's our jam, man. People are our jam. We're all successful. Everybody here is successful. But what's your legacy going to be? I want that dash between the day I'm born and the day I die to be filled with 1 million experiences with people that maybe just finally got they could do more. If I do that, that's a life super fulfilled. So I did say, somebody said, hey, if we sign up, do we get, so Rose, Tsonga, when we sign up, do you have all access? You get all 30 trainings we've already done. We promised 2 trainings a week. We've averaged 5. It's because the need is so strong. So yes, you get all that and more. And I think, guys, there's a 72-hour free promo. Did you guys hear about that? My team has been playing around with it. So if you just, I don't even know my website. Tom Ferry, click on Pivot, find it. By the way, don't do that when you do a buyer seminar. That was the worst close on the planet. But you guys know what I'm saying. Be resourceful. Go to tomferry.com. You'll find it.
Tom, from everybody at Coldwell Banker West and everybody from Coldwell Banker across the world, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Appreciate you guys. I got to bounce to go do another session. Hey, guys, mindset matters. Be strong. Love you guys. Hey, go for it in May. Crush it.
We're going to. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Be well.